Let's get more now on the ICC's arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defence minister, as well as a Hamas commander. I'm joined by Alan Pincus, former Israeli consul general in New York, who was an advisor to the Israeli Prime Ministers Ehud Barak and Shimon Peres. Thank you for being with us. What's the significance of this move from the ICC in your view?
Well, it's good to be with you, Gita. The significance is the actual issuing of the warrants, because this comes as no surprise. As early as May, the chief prosecutor of the ICC, of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, indicated that he is requesting such warrants, and it took time. By the way, he created an equilibrium. He issued 3 such warrants against Hamas leaders. All 3 have been killed by Israel. So now what remains are the 2, the Israeli Prime Minister and the Israeli Defense Minister. You mentioned, Gita, that one was issued against the Hamas leader, Mohammadef. He too is believed to have died about 2 months ago, to have been killed 2 months ago. Now, the significance of Israel is not party to the Rome Statute. And so Israel supposedly has no standing here. What Israel and the U.S., which is also not a party to the Rome Statute, what Israel and the U.S. are claiming now is that the ICC lacks jurisdiction. I don't think that's going to hold a lot of water. The question is, what does this do practically? Sure, it disrupts Mr. Netanyahu's travel plans. By the way, you just mentioned Vladimir Putin. He too has an ICC arrest warrant against him, and he too, since it was issued, has not traveled except, I think, one trip to Mongolia, which is hardly a place that would turn him into to The Hague. So the significance is it's not going to affect the war. It's not going to affect the short-range prosecution of the war, neither in Gaza nor in Lebanon. But what you see is, is Mr. Netanyahu whining and lamenting about this anti-Semitic cabal and about a court that lost touch with reality, et cetera, et cetera. Immediately, it will have no effect.
And in terms of, okay, that's your take on whether it changes the reality of war. What about Mr. Netanyahu's, criticisms coming out of his team, some of his ministers, the president in Israel saying, that this is anti-Semitism, that they are shocked by this, and that obviously the Israeli argument has been that they are simply acting to secure their own safety and in self-defense.
Well, okay, this is the herd reaction that was predictable. Everyone is, rounding the wagons, circling the wagons, and everyone basically says the same thing. The opposition, the coalition, this guy, that guy, they're all saying this is an anti-Semitic plot, this is an anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli cabal. We've been saying this all along, but here's the plain truth. Go ahead and prove it. If you think Israel did not commit war crimes, if you think Israel did not commit crimes against humanity, if you think, and I'm quoting from the arrest warrants, that Israel did not starve the population or segments of the population in Gaza and deliberately hit non-combatants or innocent civilians, then you have all the proof. Now, here's an important point, Gita. In September, 2 months ago, the Israeli Attorney General said something very simple: set up a state inquiry commission. That's the only thing that would block such warrants from being issued. If Israel is serious about this, and I believe, she said, I believe that we did not commit genocide, that we did not commit war crimes. But the way to do this is to set up and establish an official state inquiry commission. But Mr. Netanyahu does not want that because he's trying to shrug off any responsibility and deflect any accountability. So now, in a way, he's paying the price for his reluctance and refusal to do so by virtue of these warrants being served. Now, the
Can I
reaction
just ask you that in practical terms, obviously you've worked in the US. The US has said that they don't recognise this. We're about to see a change in administration with Donald Trump, historically being a very keen supporter of Mr. Netanyahu. But the UK has said that it does respect the independence of the ICC, as has the EU effectively. I mean, this will have an impact, surely.
Oh, absolutely. First, a little correction. I know this is not the topic of our conversation, Gita. Mr. Trump is not a fan of Mr. Netanyahu. Mr. Netanyahu indeed is a fan of Mr. Trump, but we're going to find out pretty soon that there are limits to Mr. Trump's friendship with Netanyahu. But that's a side point, parenthetically. Yes, you're absolutely right. There are 124 countries, all of Western Europe, almost the entire EU, that have signed on to the Rome Statute. All of NATO members except the U.S. So yeah, the U.S. already, the outgoing Biden administration said that it questions the fundamental legitimacy of this, and it questions the jurisdiction of the ICC. And the incoming National Security Advisor and the incoming Trump administration, currently Congressman Mike Waltz, said, we're going to turn this around come January. The ICC will feel the full weight of the United States. So what? If so people say things. This does not apply to the U.S. Mr. Netanyahu is free to go to the U.S. But if he makes a surprise landing in London, I know you quoted the Prime Minister as saying that he does not want to get into foreign leaders' travel plans. But if he makes a landing in Paris, in London, or in Dublin, for that matter, he's liable to be arrested.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We'll have to leave it there. But thank you so much for being with us, Alon Pinkas.